Milestone Podcast, number 100. Today we talk about the one word that can change everything for you. Man, it is hard to believe, but we are on episode 100 of the Do Hard Things Today podcast. Man, when we started this thing, hey, who knows how long? Is this going to be just a little hobby or something that we do for a couple of months, or is this going to be something that lasts? And we are on episode 100. And Jed, today, instead of jumping into some heavy topic or something, I really spent some time thinking about this podcast and what we have learned, all of the guests that we've had on the podcast, the different stories, some of them, you know, we have laughed, we've shed tears. There's been so many things that we have experienced with our listeners, with our guests and others. I wanted to think about what is the one word that I think characterizes all the people that we've interviewed that have had success and that have been really doing the hard things that we talk about. And as I was thinking through that, I did a little research on podcasts. And what do you think of all the podcasts? How many podcasts do you think are out there, Jed?
Oh, there's well over 1 million.
Yeah,
Probably triple that.
Yeah, I mean, there's just an unnamed amount of podcasts out there. How many episodes do you think most podcasts make it to, if you were going to guess?
If I'm going to guess 20.
Yeah, that's double what most of them make it to.
Okay, all right, good to know.
And Jed, if you know the two guys sitting here, I can promise you, there's really nothing special about us.
Oh, one of us anyway.
We're definitely no Joe Rogan or whoever podcaster you want to. Now, he's the number one podcaster, but we're definitely not that. But when I thought about why do these other podcasts that are out there, why do most of them make it to 10, 15, 20 if they're lucky? And how did we overcome that? And I can tell you that we suffered with the same thing early on. We suffered with the same problem that most of those podcasts I'm thinking are probably going to suffer with. And that was just a lack of consistency.
Right.
We would record a couple of podcasts, and then we might go a month or two, no podcast. And then we would say, well, do we want to keep doing it? Do we not want to keep doing it? And it brought me to the point of realization that with everything that we talk about on this podcast, consistency is king, Jed. I mean, we've dedicated ourselves now to sitting here and recording. You know, we record on Wednesdays, and we set that time aside and have developed the habit and the discipline of doing that. And so, Jed, why do you think, and this is not just about podcasts, but you've been here for about you've been producing them. You and Elias have been doing this for about half of the time, and are a third of the time. And during that time is when we've really become consistent. And you've heard a lot of the stories, a lot of the people that have been on the podcast. Why do you think it's so hard to stay consistent?
And that's a loaded question, but I think it's like anything. It's hard to stay consistent in anything because the excitement wears off, because there are other things that you might want to do more than you want to do that right then, because it's something, well, I've done it. I wanted to try it, and I've tried it, and I'm going to kind of slide it to the back burner. It's not the most important thing right now. There's a bunch of reasons. I guess lack of discipline would cover most of those.
Sounds kind of like a diet.
Yeah, it does.
You know?
It really, really does.
I mean, it sounds kind of like January 1st, New Year's resolutions. You jump into things, and it sounds really cool. You work on it. You're on a diet for a week or two, seeing some results, and then you take a little break. You know, it sounds like the same thing with your finances. You get on a budget. You're doing good. You're trying to pay off some debt. And then you lose steam, and the issue is, whether it be time, whether it be all the other things that come at us, it takes us off of our game, and we don't prioritize the things that we're saying that are important to us. That prioritization, which is, hey, we're going to record these podcasts. We're going to schedule these guests. We're going to schedule out the topics. We are going to have a time that we sit down and do this. We're going to get the YouTube channel fully functional. We're going to do video. We're going to do these things. It's just prioritizing those things. When we've had several podcasts where we've had people on and we've talked about goal setting. We've talked about the importance of goal setting, which I think goal setting is something that is important. But generally, for us, we're going to push you towards identifying those key habits that you need to have on, and then developing the discipline just to keep those good habits consistent. How does that differ from what you've thought of in traditional goal setting and striving for goals that you may have set before? How do you see that as different?
It's almost completely different in that it's something. We talked about it in one of our last podcasts. I'm not sure if that one's been published yet or not, but goal setting is easy. You say, I'm going to do this. And it's we talk about 100-meter goals. This is even further than that. This is a 400-meter goal. This is a mile away. I'm going to do that. It's different in actually having to do it consistently. And it's our tagline is do hard things today and tomorrow will take care of itself. Well, tomorrow's always coming. Today is always here. So you're constantly having to do those hard things and keep meeting those extremely short-term goals so that the long-term goal will work out.
Yeah. You can't lose 100 pounds a day.
No,
you can't.
You can lose half a pound a day.
You can lose half a pound a day. And, you talk about there's 3 points in time that are always affecting us. And really only one of them should have the most effect. These 3 points of time are yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And a lot of times yesterday bleeds over in today, because if we make a mistake, a lot of times that compounds into today and we start feeling bad about ourselves and we push it. If we have success yesterday, many times that will compound into today as well. But then we look at tomorrow and we start thinking about, many times, I would say most of the time, whenever we're unsuccessful, we look and we say, well, I'll start that tomorrow.
Right.
Kick the can down the road. I'll start that tomorrow. Hey, you know what? I'm going to do what I want to do today. Where if we just focus on that 24-hour period of time, which is today, and what are the good habits that I need to be doing today, then tomorrow, it will take care of itself. But tomorrow, you know what tomorrow becomes tomorrow?
Today.
It becomes today.
Right.
And then
but it's a little easier now.
It's a little easier. And you look and, all right, what are the consistent things I need to do? What are those habits? And then we're able to keep that. And then you start to build that big mo and you get the momentum going. And then next thing you do, you look up and ironically you meet those goals that you talked about. But you're focusing on those habits and the discipline that it takes to build those habits. And many of these habits use the word boring, mundane. It seems like is it that important to drink 100 ounces of water in a day? There's nothing special about that. Is it really important to take my lunch and save $10 a day? That does not sound exciting. What you find with people that are truly extraordinary and people that are really successful is they're not doing these big, audacious, crazy things. What they've become masters of is they have become masters of doing these mundane things and becoming excellent at those things.
Who's the most successful college football coach of the last 15 years?
Oh, one Nicholas Saban.
Do you know what he has for breakfast every morning? I'm going somewhere with this, I promise.
I'm going to assume it's going to be the same thing, but I don't know what it is.
It's 2 Little Debbie cakes, 2 oatmeal cream pies,
Yeah.
and I think I read a Diet Dr. Pepper. I might be wrong on the drink, because he never has to think about it. That's a decision that he doesn't have to make that day.
Yeah.
That's what he's having for breakfast. He can dedicate his thinking, his decision making to something that matters to him, because breakfast doesn't matter. It's 2 Little Debbie cakes and a soft drink.
Yeah.
Every morning.
Yeah.
That's boring. That's mundane, but it's a decision that he does. One of my favorite authors, his name's Carl Hyacin. He said when he's writing, when he's in the middle of a book, he has a turkey sandwich with provolone cheese for lunch every day because he likes it and he doesn't have to think about it.
Doesn't have to think about it. That is, I didn't know that about old Nick Saban.
Yep.
But, I think we quoted him in a podcast several episodes ago, where he's talking about being successful. And he said, I tell my players, I tell my coaches, I tell myself that if you really want to be exceptional, you don't have a lot of choices.
Right.
You don't have a lot of choices. You got to do those things, and you got to do them over and over and over and over. And for him, whether or not you agree that it's the best decision in the world to eat 2 oatmeal cream pies,
it's a terrible decision,
but it's one that he does not have to.
Right.
He does not have to make.
He backs that up by having a college weight room and a college training table at his disposal, so he can kind of counteract the negative effects.
Yeah, and it's these habits that we put in place, and just the consistency of doing those. It is, you see people. Kobe Bryant talked about it with he would go into the gym and he would work on just back and forth on just doing a right-handed layup and then just a left-handed layup and just back and forth. And he would start and he would spend all that time just working on those just fundamental aspects of the game.
I read something about him, and it speaks to doing the boring and doing the mundane and showing some discipline. If he had a rookie teammate, if he had a teammate who had just signed a giant contract, he would look up, and Kobe did this in every city, but he would take this teammate with him. He would look up where the teammate was from, the closest big city, the closest NBA city to that teammate. And when they were home, when they were flying to when they were playing a game at the closest NBA city to wherever this teammate came from, he'd go to them right before the plane landed and say, "What are you doing first?" And the teammate would say, "Well, I got some people coming in. Well, I'm going to see my family. Nope, we're going to the gym." And they go to the gym and get up 100 shots and shoot those left-handed and right-handed layups and spend an hour decompressing. And he didn't want them out home. He didn't want them running around doing the things that you do when you're young and suddenly rich and home.
Yep.
He wanted them to ground them a little bit, to focus them a little bit. He wanted them to do that mundane thing, those 100 shots, to kind of center their minds.
Yeah. Discipline.
Yeah.
Discipline to be consistent. So as we get into triple digits now in the podcast, we hope, our desire is that we're giving you content that help you to be able to be everything that you can be in all aspects of your life. And I just felt like it was appropriate on episode 100 not to bring in some big guest or to come up with some crazy topic to just for the bang, but to really just refocus on, as consistency is the king. And if you can stay consistent, if you can discipline yourself to do the hard things daily, and I'm not closing it right yet, but the reason we say doing the hard things daily, tomorrow takes care of itself. It takes the pressure of tomorrow off. It just puts you in the day that you're in, what is directly in front of you, what is the next step that you need to take. So as we launch into triple digits and are moving, the next big one we'll have will be 150. And we hope to be able to, we're going to give you at least 2 podcasts weekly. That is our commitment. We've already got I think we've got 10 podcasts now.
Yeah, we got several in the bag right now.
In the bag right now that are coming to you, and so we're going to give you at least 2 per week. So, by the time we get to the end of this year, we'll be at 200 podcasts. But we wanted to stop and say thank you for listening, thank you for. We got over 50,000 unique downloads, and that's just amazing. It's humbling that you guys will, trust us and listen to us, and we consider you guys part of our family, that we're able to walk this journey together and stay consistent, develop those habits, and if you'll do the hard things today, tomorrow will take care of itself.